Move on to other stories, and the presidency has presented to the Council of State petitions for the Montie 3 to be pardoned. The Chief of Staff Julius Deborah presented the petition to Chair of the Council of State on behalf of President Mahama. Julius Deborah said the President is looking forward to the advice of the Council of State for action to be taken. Chairperson of the Council, Madam Cecilia Johnson, who received a petition, said they will be submitted to the legal committee of the council for initial review before the council as a whole meets to consider the issues. The first petition was presented by lawyers of the jailed Montie trio, with the second presentation for pardon by civil society group research advocacy platforms. Now, some politicians and lawyers and civil society groups have kicked against any attempt to pardon the three, saying it could send a dangerous precedents. Now, the three, Salih Fumase and his two guests, Okugan and Alistair Nelson, were jailed on July 27, 2016 by the Supreme Court for contempt. They were also fined 10,000 Ghana cedis each. Now, to dwell more on this story, we go on the phone lines to speak with lawyer Clara Kasati, a private legal practitioner and a lecturer at GIMPA. Good afternoon, lawyer, and thanks for agreeing to speak with us.
Good afternoon, and good afternoon to your viewers.
Now, it's on record that a petition has been sent to the Council of State, but looking at the back and forth regarding the Montie 3, what will be the best advice from the Council to the President?
If I were a member of the Council of State, my advice to the President would be not granted. I would say he should not grant the pardon, not because it is illegal to grant the pardon, but if you look at the kind of nation that we're all trying to build, it wouldn't augur well for national cohesion for him to grant such a pardon. The other difficulty is that we do not want the impression created that the prerogative under Article 72 be turned into another appeal process, more or less, so that people who are not happy with their sentences, rather than probably follow the appeal process, would resort to the executive to do something about that. So because of that, and then the likelihood of what it could create for the nation, on that basis, if I were a member of the Council of State, my advice would be not to grant it, in spite of the power that the Constitution clearly gives him.
Now, building on what has just happened, if the President should indeed implement the advice from the Council, whether to release them or not to release them, could this bring about any other situation or concern?
Could I get the question again?
I'm asking that if the President should implement the advice of the Council of State, either to release them or not to release them. Already there's been a lot of back and forth regarding this issue. Could this also come up with several other issues upon implementing the advice of the Council of State?
Several other issues like what?
Now, there are some persons who believe that they should be released, citing human rights and all, and freedom of speech. There are others who think that he shouldn't be released. Building on what you've just said, if he should implement the advice, was it first of all necessary that he went to the Council of State for advice regarding this issue?
Well, if we are looking strictly at the law, yes, the law provides that he should do it in consultation with the Council of State. Now, the advice of the Council, it doesn't mean that if the Council of State says he should grant them pardon, then he's duty bound to grant them pardon. Under that provision, the buck stops with him. Ultimately, he takes the decision. And if the Council of State says grant it, he can still decide not to grant it. Because it's instructive that the article says he may, not he shall. So the advice from the Council of State is not necessarily binding on him that he must grant them pardon. But if he does grant it, all the people petitioning him to grant it, it's their constitutional right. It's their legal right to file whatever petition that they believe they are entitled to file. For those also kicking against the petition, it is also their constitutional right. That is the beauty of democracy. For both sides, everybody is exercising their constitutional right. But at the end of the day, the buck stops with the President. It is him who ultimately has to make a decision.
Now, finally, before I let you go, do you think, although the president is still entitled to listen to the Council of State for advice, do you think that undue pressure led to the president even petitioning and seeking the advice of the Council of State after what has gone on?
I wouldn't say it would be a yes and no, because whether or not there is pressure, the article requires that he consults with the Council of State. So his consultation is not necessarily due to pressure, but it's in conformity with the requirements of the Act.
Okay.
Yes, I can understand that this is an election year. For any politician, this is not an easy decision to make, because you have your followers who are the ones to stand with you on the campaign trail, but also you have duty to other citizens of the country. So I would want to believe that at the end of the day, the president will think critically about this and will do what is right, not necessarily what is necessarily legal, but what is right for the entire country.
Well, thank you very much for your time, Lawyer Clara Kasati. She's a private legal practitioner and a lecturer at GEMPA.